Yo, yo, yo.
Happy Friday.
What's going on, everybody?
It's been a
Man,
rough week.
yeah, it's very rough.
Thank God it's Friday.
For
On
sure, for
Friday.
sure. Uh, just so you guys know, for those that have been watching, that's been following us, no videos come down. And
Who's the Deadbeat is not liable or reliable for any litigations to follow thereafter or after the interview. Just so you know, keep it clean, keep it cute, say no names, no face, no case, however you intend to do it. But again, we give you the opportunity to tell your story your way. This is a platform that stands against parental alienation. If you're new here, for everybody, welcome. Thank you for rocking with us and tuning in. And please don't forget to subscribe. We're trying to get to 10,000 subbies. And yeah, that's it. So let's get started.
all right, we finna just hop right into it. Who we got? Dr. Daniel is waiting in the queue for us. All right, hold on, give me 1 second. There we go.
Hello.
How you guys doing? Happy
Hey,
Friday.
how's it going?
Happy
It was
Friday.
where you tuning in from?
Washington, D.C.
Okay. We got DC in the house.
That's the first.
Okay. All right. How many kids do you have?
I'm sorry, say again. It blanked out one more time.
Uh
How
huh.
many children do you
Oh,
currently have?
two lovely children.
And have both of them been alienated or just one child?
Both.
Oh wow.
Okay, so
And
Yeah.
you said it just blanked out. So let us know. We've been having some technical difficulties these last couple of weeks. So let us know if we freezing or something like that because we might have to, restart.
also you guys let us know in the comments if it's lagging
Yeah.
or if we're, stagnant, because that makes a lot of sense that we need to keep the flow of the interview. So
Okay. So you said you got two kids and both of them been alienated. How many do you have the same do they have the same mother?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
are you guys married?
We were engaged at the time.
Okay.
Okay, so give us a little history about that, like
How did
how
you
that.
guys meet and
Yeah. So we were college kind of sweethearts. And I, during my time I was playing a little football there and met her while I was playing football and I kept in school for so long. I stayed to get my PhD. And so we were together for over a decade at the time.
oh
Okay,
wow.
how old are the kids?
Oh, the kids now, my son is, oh boy, my son is 20 and my daughter is 15.
So how old were they when you guys separated, and kind of give us a history of like how did it go bad? Because if you were together for over a decade, you would think
Yeah.
that you would still be together, but
Yeah. So, at the time when I met her, I went to New Mexico State University to play some football there. And when I graduated with my PhD, it was time for me to go back home. And at the time, we were engaged, and I had my son, and he was right around 5 or 6 years old at the time. And I wanted him here, so I did a lot of hard work and ended up getting a house. And then she ended up moving in maybe a year or so later.
Okay.
And so, we were living as a family, and then my daughter came right after that. And I can kind of tell you what happened after that. 2014, when her and I were living together for quite some time, she decided that she didn't like this area. Um, she didn't like, being from the Southwest part of the country. It was
Mhm.
definitely a lot faster pace than it was back there, right?
Oh
So,
yeah.
Okay.
yeah, so it wasn't, this is DC, so it's a really kind of fast
Oh
city.
yeah.
Yeah, and she really didn't like it. And I didn't know at the time that she was very unhappy. I was working three jobs at the time, trying to support my family and making sure that we have a roof over our heads and just really us getting us ourselves started in the community. And
Now did she
December,
did she go to school there too as well?
yes, sir. Yeah,
Did
she's
she graduate as well?
yeah, she's graduated with her master's, in fact.
Okay. So at this time when you working these three jobs, was she working as well?
Yeah, she was working, but I paid the majority of the bills, and so she kept a lot of, her money.
Yeah, we know how it go.
Yeah, sounds like the American dream. Did you guys have a white picket fence?
Not a white, but black for sure.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So before we get into it, we got one question to ask. Who's
Who's
the
the
deadbeat?
deadbeat?
Oh, definitely isn't me. So it was definitely her in this situation. I did, unbeknownst to me, a whole year she was planning on moving and didn't tell me. So one day I come home and I try to figure out where the kids were. We were trying to go to practice. We had our routine, track practice, and so on and so forth. And, I noticed that the bags were gone. So calling her. And at the time, whenever you did a text and it didn't go through, or somebody blocked you, it went green.
Yeah.
And so I noticed that it was going green. So I just kept calling and trying to figure out what was going on. And it just hit me like, where are they? They're gone. And for 122 days, she had moved down to Texas. I had to find a private investigator at the time to go find them,
Wow.
and I didn't talk to my kids or hear anything from them for 122 days. In
All right.
fact, oh, go ahead.
Let's stop. Let's
Yeah,
pause for a
let's
second.
zoom in on that part real quick.
Because even though, okay, people disagree, right? You get together, things change, you don't like the area, whatever the case may be. What would get to the point that she feels the need that she has to skip town and like don't tell you anything? Because
Yeah.
I'm assuming you were active, very active. Kids been with you since day one. You guys were doing it together. Why so, in this way did she leave that way?
So in the state of Texas, if you guys are familiar with Texas law,
Oh
and I
yeah.
had to learn about it the kind of hard
Yeah,
way.
we
In the
we
state of
fought
Very
Texas,
we
familiar.
fought hard and we, was very successful in Texas. So yeah, we know all about it.
yeah. So if you go there and you file what's called a domestic violence against someone, even if you don't have any proof that they did anything or any substance to it at all, they can award custody to the mom immediately through domestic violence.
So are
So
you
what she
speaking
did,
of like the ex parte TPO, like a temporary protective order that you didn't get a chance to defend yourself? She went and moved and immediately filed that.
yes, and when I found out about it, I had to get it to a lawyer here in DC, and I also
Mhm.
had to get a lawyer down there to fight those charges, which was frivolous.
So what was the lawyer that you had here? Do you
Uh,
remember the lawyer name?
yeah, yes, Marnita. Uh, oh gosh, Marnita. I forget her last name, but Marnita was her name. I can find that. But she
Okay.
was the God sent to help me go through the custody process here. And then I also had to get a lawyer down in Texas to fight the domestic violence. That went away, so the case ended up being fought here in Washington D.C.
Because that's where the kids
Yeah,
were
right.
resided for quite some time before. So did
Right.
you kind of act fast? Because typically, when moms, you said 120 something days, that's like right on the cusp
Yeah.
of the time limit that it
6 months,
takes
the six
for them
month
to
mark.
switch
Yeah.
residency. So
So I was fast with it because I was trying to get my kids back like that very next day. So I went to the courthouse the very next day and filed,
Oh
which
yeah.
okay.
made the court case be here. And because I was the one that sued her and filed first against her.
See, that's
And then
smart. And
she
I hope a
did
lot of fathers is listening to you right now because that's smart.
That's the way.
yeah, so I filed for emergency custody the first day, which obviously started my custody case altogether. And then I ended up getting a lawyer right after that, and maybe a week later, she filed for custody too. But the state in this state, it was because I filed for emergency here first. That date was the date that they took. So when she went down and moved to Texas, she tried to beat me to the punch by filing there, but she filed there on day 3, and I filed on day 2. So what Maryland
Yeah.
ended up doing it. So what Maryland, Washington D.C. area, what they ended up doing was taking the case from Texas because I ended up beating the domestic violence cases, that was never happening. But what I ended up doing was taking that case. She tried to take the case and put it in Texas, but Maryland and Texas ended up talking, and they saw that we had jurisdiction here. So,
Yeah.
which means that she had to fly back and forth for the court case while we were
She
So
had
having
to
it.
fight in your backyard, basically.
so let me
Absolutely.
ask you this. So was it you said it wasn't no domestic violence. So was you cheating or like you didn't get no signs, no warnings? Of course you said she was unhappy, but unhappiness won't just make you just pick up and run with the kids and you not see them and she knows you a good dad. So like what was
Were
her
you surprised at all?
yeah.
So I'm a psychologist by trade, and what she suffers from is intergenerational trauma. And so I didn't know at the time, and I know now, is that her mom, her grandma, which is her mom's mom, she left her dad in the middle of the night, and then her mom ends up leaving her dad at the middle of the night. So she didn't have the tools to be able to be in the family. So every time and she's single to this day. So every time she gets close to someone, she doesn't know how to, because she hasn't got therapy, she doesn't know how to be able to relate in those type of relationships. So every time she gets close to someone, she ends up leaving because she doesn't, that's just what she's been used to her
Was that
entire
the
life.
first time she had broke up with you in that
Yeah,
in you guys'
yeah,
relationship?
yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, so just imagine, I think I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. Providing, working several jobs. I coach as well. I coach my kids' teams, and I was always with my kids. So it was a very shocking thing that happened.
So that leads me to my next question. So let's go back to that day, all right? You walk through the door, you do all these things, you call in. What was that like? Like take us back to like how did that make you feel in that moment?
So it's interesting you say that, right? Every time I speak on it, and I do a lot of public speaking on this, I was devastated. If you have ever been through something where if you had a close friend that died or you had somebody that was really close to you, that gut wrenching feeling of I can't believe it, that's what happened. And my sister was there here at the time, and I haven't cried in years. And I bust down crying like I've never seen, you've never seen before, because it was the shock of I couldn't believe it. This is happening, and what did I do, right? And through therapy and me understanding the literature and stuff like that, I noticed that it wasn't me. It was always going to happen. It was just a delayed of when it was going to happen.
When did you first get to know what parental alienation was? Did you take to do research? Because I know you're very educated. Kudos to you. You know, in your profession, had you ever heard of parental alienation before, or
Yes.
ever had patients that went through it, or like how did that go for you?
So, as me as a professor, I teach at or I taught at the time at Trinity University. I've taught classes on family and psychology,
Oh, we lagging.
and we've seen alienation in the past, and in the literature they teach you about alienation, but you never know what it really is until you go through it. It is a real thing, fellas. It is a real thing, right? And if the emotions aren't there for you as a dad to understand how to manage that and how to push through that, I see a lot of guys can kind of go into some type of depression about being alienated from their children.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, did you feel like once you knew that that's what it was, given the fact that you were familiar, did you feel you had the tools to kind of navigate everything?
No, I don't. It takes a community in order to get through something like this. And the first thing that I did was I one prayed, but then I told God that whatever it takes, I will do in order to get my kids back. And I'll explain that a little bit later about some of the things that I do in order to try to help other people out. But two, I called around. I called around. I called around. I called around. I tried to find out more information about the court proceedings, because if you don't know anything about the court proceedings and you're going through this, especially Black men, how we feel about court and being in a courthouse and being in those legal situations, it can be daunting, and a lot of people just give up.
Yes.
But I
Exactly.
will.
And this is
Yes.
that's exactly why we do what we do. For that reason, to help people understand, one, what parental alienation is, and two, is to understand
The importance
how to
of
navigate the
court system.
the court system, because it can get scary, really scary. And one mistake can cost you. So
And I'm
okay.
sorry, I was just gonna piggyback off of what he was saying, but just to mention, going through family court, even if everything, if all your ducks are in a row, you can afford an attorney, like that's just the process of the fight. But the real internal agony, right, of being separated from your kids, the backlash that you get. I don't know if you were ever called a deadbeat, right? Um, with the way people view this, because they don't know and they don't understand what parental alienation is, and then being hit with the silver bullet, right? So let's talk about that a little bit. What was your take on finding out that you had a temporary protective order out of nowhere?
You know, you would think that if it would never happen to you. That's the first thing that you think, like, how could this? I've done everything right. I went to school. I don't have any past litigations against me. I've pretty much been squeaky clean my entire life. But then to find out that you have this on your as somebody saying that you're doing something like this, and then going into the court proceedings, you feel like somebody has now labeled you something that you're not. And if you have ever been in a court proceedings, the way that they look at you, the way that people are whenever they find out that you have this charge again, not charge, but somebody's saying that you're doing these type of things, they look at
Mm-hmm.
you different. That your friends,
Absolutely.
your family, they look at you totally
Absolutely.
different than what you know who you are to be.
Who
Um,
was your support system throughout all this? As far as, since you mentioned friends and family, was it a battle of the exes type thing? Did you have people? Did she have people supporting her, and you guys going back and forth, or like what was that like?
So I had my family. We have very, very close knit family here and in the DC area. So all of us live within 5 miles of each other. We all have houses within 5 miles of each other. So I depended on them a lot. It was really bad at that point. I slept in my son's bed. I slept in my daughter's bed just to smell them. Because again, every single
That's
day I was
tough.
around them. I cried a lot. But my dad is a pastor, my mom's the first lady, so I did a lot of spiritual cleansing, a lot of it,
Okay.
right? And really went to God and asked him, what can I do and what did I do wrong? And just kind of just cleansing yourself during that period. And then the other thing I did that helped out a lot was I went to work. I studied this stuff. I studied the court proceedings. I got other jobs in order to be able to afford lawyers. I just, I had a friend, and I'll tell you real quick. I had a friend that lived in Texas at the time. She told me, you know what? The moms always get the kids. So you should just get used to coming down Texas and leaving and having your kids in Texas. And that lit a fire in me like I've never had before. And,
That's
I,
crazy.
yeah. So,
But you want
just
custody.
and I ended up winning custody. Yeah, yes, ma'am.
All right, so take us back to the moment when you found out she gone, you went to go file, and then take us from there. So what happened? Because I'm quite sure it wasn't just peaches and cream. I'm quite sure it was some back and forth or something that was going on.
So the first thing that I did was I went to go file an emergency custody petition in the court, and it's a little bit different process than filing your regular custody process. So I went to go file emergency the first day, and in emergency, at least here, you have to show that one, the kids were taken without your permission, but two, that the kids are in some type of imminent danger, or there's some type of um, neglect going on in that situation, right?
Hmm.
And then what they also do, at least here, they give that other person an opportunity to come back to defend themselves. But when I filed that first petition on that, literally on December 11th, because it happened on December 10th, and literally at 9 a.m., I was at the courthouse to file. Um, it was one of those things where it was frustrating because no
Oh
one would
yeah.
listen. The judge wouldn't even
Yeah.
listen because it didn't meet the parameters of an emergency. And I
Hmm.
just sat there and I kept saying, it's emergency, it's emergency. My kids are gone, my kids are gone. He kept telling me to trust the process and to file it a different way. And, I tell you, if
And
you
you know
ever
they
went
can't
through
give you
something like
no
this,
legal advice, so they couldn't really explain it to you.
not at all, not at all. Told me
Mhm.
go get a lawyer, right? And
Yeah.
that process was, I could see a lot of guys giving up at that process, but it's certainly in the court system, it is definitely a different process than what you would really think it is. It's a lot of waiting, it's a lot of files to form, it's a lot of we're gonna, it's a lot, and put it like that.
Right. It's not instant results. A lot of people want
Oh no.
things to happen overnight, and this is what we try to preach all the time. That's just not the luck of the draw. Like this is the thing that's longevity is very, important with this. You got to know how to handle it.
So,
And,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
and then I was gonna say the biggest thing was me realizing that things were never going to be the same, and it took
Mhm.
me at least a month to, because that's all I kept thinking. I got to get my family back. I got to get my family back. What can I tell her
So
to
at this
bring her
point,
back?
you still want it to be a husband, of course, because you've been with her for over a decade. Y'all got two kids, so you was just trying to, do something to get her back
Speaking of
at this
that,
point.
why didn't you guys get married? Like, who
Well,
was the
shit.
one that was a little resistant, or was it just other issues that kind of like made it not happen?
No, shit. It was definitely her, right? We were, college sweethearts or whatever, and we were really goal based. So my first goal was to get my PhD, right? And then she went into her goal was to get her social works license.
Hmm.
So once that was going to be like the combination of, okay, you got your license, and now we're going to get
Did
married.
No, I'm
When
sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And what I didn't know at the time was the resistance of her getting married was because she has unresolved trauma. But I was the one that was trying to reach out to
So,
make sure
so,
that
so did she
make her.
want kids, or did you want kids, or that's something y'all both decided?
Oh no, we both wanted kids.
Okay, okay.
As far I think if I can remember because I lost my train of thought. I was going to ask as far as waiting, because people are going to want to say being with somebody that long of that length of time. Why didn't you get married? That could have been a reason that she probably wanted to leave. But again, that doesn't give anybody the right to alienate someone's kids, right?
So,
You probably wasn't the best partner in her eyes for whatever reason, because you said it's the area, but it's her actions following her leaving that questions that it was more for her. And of course, she's not here to give her side, but I don't know if you guys were having quarrels frequently, or like what did she just want out? Did she really just want out of the relationship? Because what is it that you would take a man's kids across the country and don't let him know anything, don't say anything, and you just on this wild goose chase just to even
It
be a
just went
father?
dark.
Oh, it's dark. We're lagging. Can you hear me?
can you hear us?
Okay, I think we're having some technical difficulties.
Can you hear us? Let me try to remove them and bring them back.
Yeah, I don't know what is wrong. Wrong thing,
Can you
y'all.
see us? Can you see us? Hold on. Give us 1 second. Man, they've been doing us in these last couple of weeks. Let's see here.
Oh God. It's the connection. I hope we don't have to end this live and start over.
Let's see.
Give them some time to come back, guys.
Yeah, strength.
Hmm.
They've been giving us some hard time these last couple of weeks, man. Messing up our good
Gotta
lives.
get the word out. Is it the information? Is what's going
What's
on?
the
Like
bit?
y'all don't want to talk about parental alienation? Like, come
Little
on.
baby mamas, they after us. They after us. All right, that's it. See back? We back? We
Okay,
Can you
we
good?
can
guys hear me?
hear.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
It's not you. We've been having some technical difficulties,
I
but
don't know if they updating or doing something, but
we're just trying to move
we're
along.
gonna roll with the punches.
Yeah,
All right. So you said you wanted to get back with her, right?
Hmm.
And you wanted your family back. So what was that like? What was that process like after you filed the first time?
Well, she was adamant about keeping the kids with her. And she was adamant about staying where she was and be in her comfortability in the Southwest. And there was a no negotiation in regards to her moving back up here because she just did not like it up in this area.
So she was in Texas. I'm assuming her family live in Texas, correct?
Yes, all of her
All right.
family was
So
there.
you know, we've heard that Texas people think that the fastest way to win, sole conservatorship is to have a protective order or safety concern. Because for me, I'm just trying to figure out, okay, you want to move, you take the kids. Why can't you still be an active dad? Even if you guys got to fight in litigation for you to get custody, why do the steps she did for you to not have no contact?
Well, she knew that I was going to come for my kids, and she knew the type of dad I was. It was no way that it was not going to be a fight. And she knows the type of she knew at the time the type of person I am, that I would go through the process and go through the legal process in order to get them. So she did a Hail Mary, right? She went down there to see if she can hurry up and get it before she knew I was going to file, because
Mm.
she knows the type of person I am, especially about my kids. And that's in Texas. And I think because her mom did it, her grandma did it, they kind of were walking her through of how to do it. And I tell you, when she got down there, she went ranch shopping, which is ranches with horses and stuff like that, because she already had calculated the money that I was supposed to be giving her. And and immediately started to try to get child support as soon as she got down there.
Wow.
Hmm.
so in her mind, because that was gonna be my next question, was she just trying to move to try to force you to come back in her area where her family is? But you said she was already planning to be by herself. She didn't plan on that wasn't part of
Being
the
a
game.
family.
Yeah, so she was done with the family thing.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so when did you find out about that? Because of course you said you were still trying to fight for your family. So but take us to that point.
And so I'm emailing her because that was the only way I could get in contact with her. And at the time, once I found out about the order, I ended up getting an attorney down there, and then the attorney started to speak with her, and then the attorney got her to start communicating back. And then once that happened, I started to try to tell her, look, whatever it is, you could tell me, we could talk about this, so on and so forth. And that's when I found out that she didn't want the entire family. And in fact, now that I know about it, she really didn't even really want the kids. She just really wanted the money. And, she was going to
Oh,
be getting, because of my salary, she was going to be getting close to $2,500 a month, uh, right? Which is in Texas, and depending on where you're at in Texas, that's a mortgage payment plus the fact that she was making pretty good money herself. That was going to be a whole different lifestyle.
But she didn't plan that right because she should have got married then. Then she would
so
have probably had a better chance.
so get us to Maryland having jurisdiction and things changing?
So it wasn't, it was once I got jurisdiction here, she had to keep flying back and forth. I was able to, and I had Marnita King, that's her name. And I was able to get a really good lawyer. I fired one lawyer, ended up getting another lawyer, and I found Marnita. And once we started going through the court proceeding, it took a year in order to get there. And during that time, we had to do what's called one of those custody orders, where the kids were living down there in Texas, and I would every week, every holiday, and things of that nature, I would have to fly down or fly them up here. So during that time, it was really, really important for me to see my kids. So I would, and she wasn't giving me any help with the funds for the flights or anything like that. It started to change once we got into the actual court proceeding, and that was a year after this whole thing started. Once the
Are you
judge
speaking
started,
of trial? Like once
one
you like went to trial?
Cause
once we went to trial,
y'all went to mediation, and I'm assuming y'all didn't agree.
she didn't agree. I was willing to give her the first thing I was willing to give her was it was $2,500. If you give me my kids, I'd pay you $2,500 a month just to it and the kids come back home. I was willing to do that, and she disagreed with that. Then it was okay. I'll take the boy. I'll take my son, and you take the girl. She didn't agree with that. She was more so banking on the fact that most court cases, when it comes down to it, usually goes to the mom, and so she was banking on getting the kids plus the
The
child
child
support.
support.
Yeah.
Okay.
So once we got into court, and I started to present my case, and the judge started to see all the community work that I do, all the stuff that the kids were involved in. That my kids, well, my daughter currently still goes there to a really good school out here that's ranked in the top 10 in the nation. The
Mm.
judge started to see that this guy is really involved, but not only that, the kids are in a better situation here in the DC area versus in Texas, because they looked at the one of the things the judge did, he looked at the school's rankings to see
Mm-hmm.
which one was better. And he
Yep.
noticed that my kids have been going to private school all of their lives, and and these are their grades and things of that nature. And he saw that this was a better opportunity for environment
Plus, it
versus
was
what it
what they
was
were
in Texas.
used to. Like
Right.
she's the
Yeah.
one who uproot their lives, which is not in their best interest. And it really wasn't a true safety concern because you got that dismissed, so that she couldn't use that against you. So what? Okay, once they decided to give you primary custody, what did that look like for her?
Well, I, I I think she was just crying a lot. She ended up losing it. But it was for us. We had to talk at this point because now you have to talk to me, right? And try to figure out, because the kids were still down there in Texas, so she needed to. We had to figure out how we were going to get
All
the
right,
kids
okay,
back.
hold on real quick before you jump into that. What was the cause?
The grounds.
What was the grounds of why you won custody? Why did they grant you custody over her?
Well,
Um,
yeah, well, the judge decided that it was a better living situation here than it was in Texas. And the grounds was is that my understanding of it was is that it was a better situation for the children, the better environment, better everything else for the
yeah, it
children
was in the
versus
best
everything
interest of
else.
them.
Hmm.
Yeah, for sure. That makes sense because you just changing their life. That'll be a shock. They not used to Texas. So okay, so you said she was crying. So did she like flip out in the courtroom or something like that?
No. In fact, so when we went to court, and the judge gave us one last opportunity to say, okay, listen, he told both of our attorneys he's leaning toward, he's basically told our attorneys, I'm most likely going to give him custody. So you attorneys need to come up with an agreement, and gave the attorneys the last chance to come up with an agreement. And that's when we had to made the agreement after that, that's when things were finalized and the judge actually signed. that's when we both were made aware of what the decision was.
Were
So,
you nice?
Was I nice to her?
Yeah, nice
Oh yeah,
about
yeah.
nice about.
We're Yeah, we're cordial till this day. She lives in Seattle, and the kids live here with me. And till this day, I still help her out when she comes down to fly and all that.
so
I
she
have a lot of
moved. She moved all
Even
the way
further.
even further away.
yeah, yeah.
Oh
I
man.
mean, so just to kind of give us, how you really, what do you really feel about this? Like, we know the motive. You said was money. Once she lost custody, does she adhere to the agreement that you guys came up with? Is she visiting the kids regularly?
She
Is
followed the
she
order
active?
at the
No,
time.
no, not even till now.
How did I know that you were gonna say this? Like, how did I predict that that was gonna be
Well, in the
So
order.
hold on. In the beginning, or you talking about
Oh goodness.
now?
never?
Yeah, so it was at the beginning. It was I don't have any money. I spent 70,000 on this lawyer, so I can't come, so on and so forth. And she's supposed to get him in July, and that my living situation here, and so on and so forth. So um, no, never. They've never been down there with her for a whole month in July. Never, not once. I think they see her. I mean, things have gotten better as over the years because but I think they see her maybe 6, 7 times throughout the year. Holidays, some holidays sometimes, and then whenever I can,
So, so let me ask you this.
But who's footing the bill for that?
Yeah, that was one
for
question.
for
The When the kids will have to go with her, wouldn't that be her responsibility or her cost? I know you were being a good guy and nice guy because, of course, we know kids need both parents. So you were
yeah,
probably doing these things for the kids. But
yeah.
is that what was happening? Were you the one that was covering the cost of their
Oh,
transportation?
yeah, I was covering. I'm still covering the cost, and the reason being is that it's money, right? But at the same time, the making sure that my kids still have a relationship because it's not their fault.
Absolutely.
Because she'll come up and say she doesn't have money and so on and so forth. And okay, fine, but you're gonna have a relationship with these kids, because that's what you are going to do, right? So, when things get tough as far as financially wise, for her and she can't afford it, I have no problem with making sure
But
that the kids stay in
why
business.
can't she afford it if she's educated, she has a good job, and she don't have no responsibility?
That's a good question. Uh, Not sure what she's doing her finances. For me, uh,
Have you
it's
moved on? Are you
hmm?
with somebody else? Did you?
No, 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 no. I'm currently single. I date. I definitely date, but I run 3 businesses, right? And I work full time. So, and
Okay.
my kids, my son now, he's in Ivy League school. He's playing football up there at UPenn. My daughter is in travel volleyball, as well as travel track and all that other stuff. So I'm really tied in with a lot of responsibilities. Plus, my community work that I do. So I have a lot on my plate. I date, but no, I'm not married.
You haven't, gotten into anything serious since your split with her, and mainly because the kids were your priority and
Yeah.
your livelihood, right?
Never really have
Yeah.
free time. Like,
No.
so let me ask you this. So, did you ever think about taking her back to court to enforce the order?
No.
And
No.
why did you decide not to do that?
Well, once we got out of the court proceeding, and as far as I was concerned, it was more so all of my attention was focused on the kids and ensuring that their emotional well-being was taken care of, and then me taking her through court again to enforce something, especially during the summer times where they're already packed with their schedule. I don't know if you guys know anything about track. My daughter always makes the Junior Olympics, so that's right around July anyway. So,
Yeah.
it was always, and my son is playing, football. So we were training during that time.
So
So
you
it
have
was
to just
never,
pick and
it was
choose your
a,
battle. Yeah.
yeah,
So
it was no reason to do it.
let me ask you this, because I mean it's very admirable, very commendable. Again, even though parental alienation is a very dark space, and we do stand on the fact that it's just not a place for like healthy co-parenting. It never is. But in your case, because you're very esteemed, educated, you have the means to be able to move forward and say, hey, this is just what I'm gonna do for my kids. And you can pick up that burden and leave it, going forward with no conflict because it's about money. You have that and you
I
can do
mean, he
that.
never said it wasn't no conflict.
Well, I'm saying as far as trying to, encourage her to do her part,
Yeah, gotcha.
he's just taking control of that and just said this is how it's gonna go. And if money was always the issue, he has that. But I'm just saying, what would be, how would you look at it if that wasn't the case? Do you think you would have tried to enforce the order had you not had the means to do it that way for your kids? Because other people can't just take up and pick up the slack for the other parent.
And to add to that too, he was still single. So like if he had a wife or a
Yeah.
girlfriend or something, then that could have played an issue
Oh yeah, that would have definitely
into
been a
Yeah.
conflict. Yeah.
yeah.
And
Well,
so what would what would you say to the guy that can't do it the way that you did it? Would you encourage them to fight back in the court system to try to get some resolution if the mom isn't following her end of the court order and doing the things that she's supposed to do? Would you say that they should continue to fight?
so in most of the custody agreements, in most of them, at least I know from this state, they have a clause in there that if you do have an issue, you got to first go to mediation. And so, if that was a big issue, and I would advise first and foremost that communication is everything. Go to mediation, get in front of someone, explain your side of the story, let her explain her side of the story, and try to work things out as much as possible. If it doesn't get worked out, then you do have to go back to court in order to try to enforce. And
Right.
yeah. So I would advise when I do my consultations with guys, yeah, I tell them absolutely try to work things out. But if it doesn't work, you're gonna have to go to court.
Yeah, I'm speaking post mediation. I'm speaking after a final order, and you're just getting a mother or another parent, that's just not willing to follow the order and do what's in the best interest of the kids. Do you like? We wish that we could have more parents, even in your position, that could just pick up the slack and give their kids the best opportunity to have that without the riffraff. But that's just not
Yeah, because
the
that
way it works out for most people, right? And so
Hmm.
for the people who can't afford to pay the cost of the mom coming in to help out, do you encourage them to go for the enforcement so that
Oh,
she's
you're
doing
gonna
her
have
part?
to. Absolutely, one
Okay.
hundred
Yeah,
percent.
that's what I was trying to get to because that's really the side that we're always on. This you're a little different, but
because at
yeah,
the end of the day, he was single, and his kids was his life.
absolutely.
But my thing is, how did this affect the kids? Like, was it ever a moment like that they knew that she was coming
And she
and
didn't
she didn't
show.
show? Because you talking, how long ago was this? Like, how old were the kids?
They were my daughter when I got
2 years
her.
old.
She was 3 years old. She was
Oh,
4 years old. 4 years old
and,
at the time.
and how
So
old are she? And how old is
yeah,
she
she's
now?
15 now. She's
You see
15
what I'm
now.
saying? So
Hmm.
we talking like 10, 11 years of
Yeah.
her doing this. So like, was it any conflict between you guys? Like, man, you gotta show up. Or was it
Yeah.
just like, I foot the bill every time?
No. So, there were plenty of times, and there's still, times where I kind of tell her, like, uh, look, this is the reason why you need to communicate more with your kids. This is the reason why you need to communicate or do certain things. And again, I try not to, and I would advise most people try not to get in any arguments, but more so just explaining the reasons as to why it's important for you to show up and show out for these children. Um,
But if you're footing the bill, she never was still receptive to any of that information you were giving her. She was still concerned about herself. Like she's her priority, not them. It's only
yes,
working because you're making it work. And so that's
yes,
the part that I want to highlight. Like let's be clear. Now, you don't have to say it, but we will say that if any parent is put in that position and you do lose custody, you still have obligation to do what's best for those kids, no matter what end of the stick you're on. And so for us, did you put on child support?
Oh, she's on child support for sure.
Okay. Okay.
And what brought you to that? Well, like, what made you
That
do
was just
that?
a part of the agreement. I didn't. That was just a part of the agreement when
Okay,
we
it wasn't
had
up to
the
you.
agreement. No,
So
it was just a part of it.
for me, I declined it.
Yeah, we actually waived.
So
We waived.
do you think that was smart? Because it's certain situations I'd be like, I should have did it. Not for me, but it just be certain things that my kids be wanting to do extra that I'm already spending a ton of money on here. And I feel like if she's the other parent, she should have the responsibility to do that too. So
Not to mention she
Yeah.
doesn't follow the order.
yeah, she
She's
doesn't follow
violated the
the
order since day
Oh
one.
no. Yeah.
So
Yeah. No. 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 You're not getting out of this without seeing them or paying. So no,
God.
so 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 a lot of that, so a lot of those tickets and stuff like that, she was paying for anyway, one way or the other, right? So,
Mhm.
Smart
she,
guy.
and to be honest with you, all of that money that I was getting for them was going toward their college fund. So when my son ended up getting, a scholarship to go to, a really good school, and my daughter's in a really good school. So when he graduates, he's going to get hopefully he won't see this, but he's going to get a vehicle, right? Because I've saved up a lot of that money. But it was no way that you weren't going to pitch in over here, especially if I'm taking 99% of the responsibility of these children every day.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we got lost a little bit. So I want to go back because I want to key in on the fact of how it affected the kids over the years
Yes.
of her not showing up.
Yeah. So the first thing I did, and it's just me as a psychologist, I got them into counseling. And I would advise a lot of people, and most of the times your insurance is going to pay for it. But I got them into counseling to really start working on their mental aspect of this, and the fact that they have to understand that it's not their fault, right? That's what a lot of kids will internalize it and say, and think this: if I was never here, mommy and daddy would never be fighting, or if I was never around, this would have never happened. So the first and foremost thing is, and that happened as soon as they got back. We went as a family and went to counseling, right, to really explain our feelings about things, right? Because it wasn't as tough on my son because he was right around 10 at the time,
Hmm.
but it was really tough on my daughter because she was 3 at the time, right? And she really needed her mom, and I had to learn how to do hair and all that stuff that goes along with, traditional mom roles and things of that nature, right?
Hmm.
So, and me as a psychologist, me just constantly talking, communication. I can't express this enough. Communication. Those rides that we have from practice, I don't turn on the radio. I don't get on the phone. We talk, right? And we talk about how we feel about things and how what we can do to look at this. And she's expressed to me a lot of times, as well as I would also advise the kids to try to write as many letters about how they feel to that parent, right? And she's expressed that in several
Hmm.
ways as far as, she wants her mom around. She wants her to be more active, and until her mom gets the treatment that she needs, as far as the counseling that she needs, she understands that right now that it's not her fault and it's not up to her to determine that. Now, how that makes her feel? Yeah, it definitely makes her feel sad, and definitely makes her feel unwanted. But these are feelings, not good feelings, but these are feelings that if you express them correctly, and you allow yourself to be treated for these feelings, you can have a really successful life.
No, I didn't hear you.
Oh man, y'all didn't hear any of that?
No,
No,
yeah,
we
we
heard
heard you.
you.
You
You
just
Okay,
going
stopped.
okay,
out.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, we heard everything. You just had
Well,
stopped talking.
actually, we're taking it in, just because it's it's a great benefit to have a psychologist, a doctor, well educated to come up here and give your own story of experiencing parental alienation and, having the tools. This is why we say it's so important, right? Even if you can't do it, it's no wrong way when you're trying to do
No
what's
wrong.
best for your kids, and so we just there all taking it in, trying to just let you
Yeah,
go. So
yeah, because the main thing that you highlighted that I took from this whole interview so far, and I want people to key in on this, and I want people to really, 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 really understand what you said. You got this educated background, and you're a psychiatrist and psychologist, and you understand you knew what parental alienation was, but you said it was some of them you still, it still affects you in a way because you really don't really understand it unless you in it. And that's that right there, that hit home because a lot of people don't even understand that point, that point that you made right there. And I want you to
they
like,
think it's textbook.
yeah, I want you to like, can you just dig in that
I
a
know.
little bit?
So the alienation from your children is, and if I was to really describe it, is if you've ever, and like I said before, if you've ever had a person that you never expected to die, that's how that feels. It's a gut wrenching. You can't move. I mean, again, that first night, I could not move at all. I felt like I couldn't. I was just stayed in a ball because it was that gut wrenching. And then for that to go on for 122 days, and I still remember the amount of days, for that to go on for 122 days, that could cause someone to go mad. That could cause someone to go to do things that are outside of their character because you have no control.
Yep.
You do not know what's going on with your children. If something was to happen to your children, you would feel that it was your fault and your responsibility because I wasn't there to protect them. So the alienation portion of this entire custody
It's
piece
great.
is the
Hold on real
most
quick.
terrible tools
If
that
you
a woman
guys
can use.
watching, can you tell us if we lagging or not? Because we've been having some issues today. So can you just tap and see if we lagging? Just want to make sure. But yeah, we heard you said so.
How severe was it when you came into contact with them? Did they show, some signs that they were disconnected from
Oh,
you? Has she been bashing you? Were they questioning you like, Dad, why we heard this? What's going
That's a
on?
good
Like,
question.
get us there.
okay. I'm glad you asked that because I wasn't going to say it. But bear with me. Uh, they were scared of me. She took 122 days to reprogram those children to be scared of me. And it was, oh, daddy's the bad guy. Oh, I'm scared of daddy. Tell this person, this judge, this family member, oh, daddy, he didn't let us eat because we're eat healthy over here. He didn't let us, he was starving us. And my son, and I'll never forget this, and I saved it. My son sent me one of those terrorist videos. I don't know if you know what I mean by that. It's a video where the kid is sitting in front of the camera, just like I'm sitting in front of this camera, and he's reading from
The
a piece of
promise.
paper about
Mm-hmm.
how he didn't want to see me anymore, how he didn't want to be around me anymore. And then at the end of the video, you could see his eyes go like this because somebody was sitting in that other and telling him what to do, and he was feeling as if that he was trapped. That's my second book is going to be on about just that. He felt that if he
Okay.
was trapped, if he didn't do what she would wanted him to do, that he was going to be some type of consequences. So if you've ever, and this is what I never want anybody to go through this, to have your son, your firstborn, sit there and send a terrorist video to you about how he doesn't want to see you, how he doesn't want to be around you, how he's scared of you. I felt and I get emotional now just thinking about it. I felt uh
Man,
defeated.
that's
I felt
tough.
defeated at the time. At the time, was
Man,
defeated.
yeah, I've been there,
And
bro.
our heart goes out because it's still an everyday struggle, even having custody, so we definitely, it resonates with us, and this is why this is the safe space, and we appreciate you so much for taking the time to be transparent and share your story, because people don't understand the depths of parental alienation. They don't know it's levels to this. They may think it's just something that's keeping kids away, but it's
It gets so
so
much
much
deeper
worse
than
than
that.
that.
Yeah.
It's like a slow death, and I can't say this enough. I will say it every single interview we do. I will say these words because that's exactly what it is.
And the person that's going through it, you be thinking that you're so strong and you can mask it. But the people on the outside that love you, they can see straight through that. They
Yeah,
know the pain that you're going through. And you be trying to mask it, but they notice it.
And still today, it's no real resolution. It's a lot of courts that don't really like to recognize parental alienation, right? It's a bunch of he said, she said, and it's very, very, very difficult to prove. It's just an uphill battle, and if you not prepared, you can become defeated. A lot of men, they end their
yeah,
own lives behind this stuff, and so
Yeah.
yeah.
that's what this is about. That's why we do this.
And I'm glad you mentioned that
Hmm.
too. See the kids, a lot of kids gotta do that because they you gotta understand they gotta survive too in the environment that they in.
Yes,
And so we on the outside, like somebody that's dealing with it for the first time, we like, why would he do that? Or like we not understanding, but they in survival mode too, because they
they're in
gotta
survival.
deal with this. Cause a lot of times when a woman that's alienated or any parent that's alienated, sometimes physical abuse can come behind that. It's like it's kind of go hand in hand because when your son be like, oh, I believe dad, or I'm what do you think gonna happen to him in that house? So a lot of people got to understand that it's not parental alienation is not just keeping the kid away. It's sometimes people can be alienated in the same house, married to their spouse, and still being alienated because women target the other, or any parent target the other parent to make them not like them in the same house. We didn't interview somebody like that.
And have targeted the kid. I mean,
Yes.
you experienced that too as well.
Yeah. Well, we just
Both
didn't
of us,
understand
just
it.
we didn't
Yeah.
know that that's what it was. But
Hmm.
these
Hmm.
kids, they're fighting for their lives as well, in terms of especially an older child, right? Because they are aware, they're seeing things that don't make sense. Like the dad that I was with my whole life, you're
Oh
telling me
man,
now wants to hurt me.
did it again.
It did it again. Okay, we're gonna.
We still
Yeah, go ahead.
see.
Okay, we're good.
We still
Okay, it's
see.
back. Okay.
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 I was saying, the older kids are the ones that become more targeted because it's easier to alienate and manipulate the younger ones, right? Like you were saying, the differences between your son and your daughter. We experienced that as well. The younger child is the one that's really,
Yeah.
the one that they latch on to, and then the older child becomes the one that's the enemy.
Because she really didn't get the dead experience
Yeah.
like that. So
Yeah, she
this
was so young. She didn't get the dad that your son got. She doesn't recollect all these things. She doesn't know. So it's like what she's being fed is
yeah.
what she's gonna remember until
That's why they prey on them like
the
that.
cycle is broken. And
Man, that's tough, man. Man, I'm just so glad that you came out victorious. I'm glad that your kids are doing well. I'm glad that you able to understand and help other brothers in this situation, parents, period. But I got one question to you. If you could give any advice to any father, that's walked in their house today, that's watching, and his kids are gone. The woman left with his kids. What advice would you give him?
Fight.
Okay. Can you go in a little bit
You
into
do
depth with that?
fight for
Because
your
a lot
children.
of people be just telling them
Yeah.
to fight and they don't really understand.
They actually get mad at us for saying it. Like, it's not that easy. Like, why are you
Right.
making it like it's a walk in the park? And we
Well,
like, well, we know that it's a walk in Jurassic Park because we did it. So it's not that. We just want to encourage you to
yeah.
do it for your
So
kids.
For sure.
the first thing that I will always tell a person that would go through something like that is to first and foremost file. He who files first is the person that is looking like they're suing that other person because that's what it is.
You get the upper
File
hand.
first,
Exactly.
right? And so that will be the first thing to do. Then the second thing to do is to get some consultation from for a good attorney, but first find out through references and through other people that find out who is the best attorney that will help you out. Because there's not all attorneys aren't made the same. I fired the first one that I had.
It,
All attorneys are not
exactly.
made the same, right? Some attorneys do it for the love of being able to help fathers out. I was able to reach out Marnita King, who was my attorney. She worked with me because I didn't have all the money up front. I had to get several jobs in order to pay, in order to get my kids.
Who was
So
your
for
attorney in Texas? Do you
David,
remember?
yeah, I think his name was David Long, I think it was.
Okay, because yeah, we had an amazing attorney. Shout out to Shidi. He's like family. Like when you say someone who worked with you, it wasn't about the money. We couldn't even afford him. Like
Yeah.
you want to talk about board certified at the top of all games, even not family law, business law as well. You would think
Man.
that we really
Yeah.
got in a hole pretty big, but he rocked with us and we did it. And so you're right. All attorneys aren't the same. You gotta find one that's gonna have the same fire
And
as
passion.
you and
Yeah.
passion and they really care about your case. But I'm sorry, go ahead. You were saying that they need to get an attorney. Did it go out again?
Can you hear us?
Let's give it some time. Oh,
Uh,
okay, he's probably gonna come back.
but yeah, he's absolutely right about that. If y'all watching, you got to do your due diligence on these attorneys too as well, because these attorneys that it can cost you big time.
Um I'm just putting you guys' comments up because we see them and we appreciate the feedback. Everybody, that's in this fight, we definitely understand. We resonate with everybody that's even had any, experience with this thing. It's a thing. It's a thing. We encourage people to fight, whether it's with attorneys or even if you just start out pro se. Like we say this all the time. He's back now. But it's very important that you do something. You can't sit on this stuff.
Yeah, for sure. What's you guys' attorney's name? I call him Cheaty because I cannot pronounce his full name. Because
neither one of us really can, but again, it's I'm gonna type it in the comments
yeah,
and then you can look it up. But this is the attorney that fought hard with us. I mean, what he did for us in terms of our case and helping us win custody was unbelievable. I'm not saying that every case is different, but we
yeah,
just want to always acknowledge him and give him the kudos because the money is the biggest thing. A lot of parents don't move forward and fight because they feel they can't afford to. We started out pro se. Like you can be a pro se litigant and do all the filings, do the research, go there yourself, get started. Nobody's saying that you got to automatically shell out thousands and thousands because it's some things that you can do on your own to get started. Now, if it get difficult and you need some help, then yeah, like you did, you got other jobs. You have to do what you have to do these things for your kids. So
but unlike Dr. Daniel, I didn't do everything right. She left. She skipped state. I didn't start fighting until 6 months later, and luckily Texas still had jurisdiction, and eventually we have to hire a lawyer. But our lawyer, he got a lot of stuff played out for us, and it worked in our favor. But so, like my wife was just saying, that every situation
it's
is
different.
different. but you know, we both got the same outcome, even though we took two totally different
Different
routes.
routes. Hmm.
So, but the main thing that we did have in common is we fought and we stayed consistent. So, and that's what I keep telling them. That is you're gonna get something, some type of relief. Every father is not finna get custody.
Exactly.
But if you get 50-50, that is a win. That is a win because you get a woman that's not trying to let you see your kids at all.
We started out with 50-50 conservatorship in Texas, and it worked. Like you as a parent, you want to be a part of your kid's life. Nobody's just going for the gusto because that may not be what's in the best interest of the kids. But a lot of people just think. I think the term full custody is so broad, and so they just think that that's just the W, the big win, the end all. But it's not. It's a lot of things that you want to deal with having full custody of children around the clock with having another parent that you're in conflict with. That you don't want that because it's not going to be a good setting for everyone.
And one thing I want to ask you before we get out of here. See, I'm glad you just brought that up. See, a lot of people think, all right, I want full custody, but what was that? What was that like to be in a two-parent household to now that you are
Doing
a
everything
single
by
parent?
yourself.
Uh, yeah, I would love 50-50. Trust me, I would love to get some time off.
Okay.
If you're a full-time parent and you're doing it by yourself, you often find yourself trying to find ways to double yourself and to be at two different places at once.
Yeah.
And it is extremely, extremely hard on your social life, especially if you're aspiring to do other things and to make more money. Because if with kids, you already know that the child support that you get, that ain't covering but food, right? So you got the other ancillary bills that you got to pay, and of course, if they're going to private school, you got to pay for that. So it's a lot of moving and shaking when it comes down to being a single parent, and that we put in a clause that if she was to move 30 miles within the area, we will go 50-50. Well, she never moved 30 miles within the area, right? So, I mean, meaning that no child support, we would go 50-50. She would 1 week on, 1 week off, but she never moved it back to this area. So, that already tells
So
you
let
that
me ask you this: did she move on? Did she have someone else?
no, not that.
No other
Well, I
kids
don't,
or
I
anything?
mean, I don't really get into her personal life, but she's not married.
Did she have other kids?
No.
Oh, okay.
I think if I could recall earlier, you stated whatever she suffers with the traumatic past is the
Yeah.
reason why she's probably still single today. Correct?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a lot of getting involved in relationships. And then once they get to a certain point, getting out of them. Right.
You
But in
know,
this situation, good.
yeah, I just wanted to highlight because since we're talking about single parenthood, just a shout out to all the single moms, like the true single moms, like the ones who do it by themselves as well. We never get a chance to give you guys your flowers because the focus, even just being a single parent, is very hard. But that's being a single parent without the trauma. Like imagine being a single parent when you're parenting children with who've been alienated, who has trauma. Like that's a
Yeah.
whole nother tier
Yes.
of boatload of concerns and issues that you have to, manage.
It's a struggle every day.
So it's amazing. We seen that you were, like you say, you do a lot of community work. Tell us about some of that.
Yeah.
So I got a couple of things that we do. I started Malloy Family Consulting, where I actually help dads to go through this legal process, as well as moms that are asking about the legal process as well.
Mm-hmm.
We also provide mediation services for for families to try to keep them together. I also do this program that we
Real
have.
quick, not
Oh,
to cut you off. So with that being said, do you guys have do you have any legal background or anything, or have someone that's in the legal field that help you out with that, or?
Yes, yeah. So
Okay.
we have a whole partnership with attorneys that we actually try to help partner up with some of these dads that are having issues, that give them a free consultation if they call, right? And a lot of
Okay.
times up here in this area, they don't do free consultations, like $150 or something like that. But that
Hmm.
was one of the things that we bridged to try to get attorneys to talk to people prior to them filing, and to let them know which type of strategy it is.
Is
So
it
all
local? Is it local in the Maryland area?
yes,
Okay,
yes,
because
mhm,
we've had some dads reach out to us in that
Yes.
area, and it's just delightful to know that you offer that because we love learning about new resources. This is why we do this as well, to hear parents out, but also to connect and network so that we can have a array of so many
Yeah.
available resources for dads
Sure.
that need to fight. So thank you for sharing that. And you're an author as well, right?
yes. My book came out. Is When the Relationship is Over: The Parental Survival Guide for Custody Battles.
Okay.
We've sold over 1,000 copies, and it's only been out like a month. So it's a lot of thirst.
Congratulations.
Yeah, there's a lot of thirst for dads out there that want to know, and moms that want to know how to deal with that. And the last thing I wanted to mention, we do what's called the athletes. I'm sorry, athletes and achievement. And basically, what we've done over the last decade is we train for football, of course, train athletes. Especially those that have single moms or single parent, come from a single parent household. We mentor, train those guys, show them how to do study habits, and really work with these guys to get to play a little bit of football, but also get into college. And so far, over the
Sir.
last decade, we've had 78 successful cases of guys that are coming through our program that have played Division I football. And right now, I have 27 active Division I players that are playing right now that are going to get their degree. So,
Man.
and I
Well,
do it
that
for free.
is,
I don't charge these guys a dime. I don't ask for a dime about it. It's just one of the things that God told me that I needed to do. So
That's dope.
after He's blessed me, I want to try to continue to bless other
So let me ask
individuals.
you, is it a nonprofit or is it something you just getting started?
So it's under Malloy Family Consulting, and this is just one of the programs that I offer. And I
Okay.
don't, and this is one of the ones that I don't charge for at all.
Okay.
so how did you find the platform?
Your platform?
Yeah.
Oh man, your platform I've been following for almost at least a year now, and just hearing the stories of all these brothers that are going through alienation, and just you know listening to all of the stories that we've been hearing, and following your content has been great for me, because I'm seeing that there is a need, and there's not just me that was going through it. It's a lot of people that have been going
Yes.
through it, and a lot of moms or females have been using their kids as pawns to hurt that other guy, to hurt the other
Yeah.
person, and that's just not right. And it's about time that we had somebody like yourselves to get up there and advocate for, and really expose a lot of this stuff that is going on. So I appreciate you guys for the content that you guys share, as well as this platform, because without it, I've never seen anything like it on the internet yet.
We appreciate that because we take a lot of beating behind the scenes, man.
Yeah. It's
Oh boy.
People don't even understand. Like we monetize, of course, on a couple of platforms, but that's it's not really paying the bills like that. We don't do this for like and shares, and they don't even really understand that the work that we put in and day out, we not getting a dollar for this. We Everybody that pretty much hit us in the inbox, we reaching out, we helping dads. We not really getting paid nothing to do this, and this is because this is our purpose. This is what we do. But we take a lot of beating of mothers that see a video come up, other mothers that support the mothers that's on the videos or whatever it is, man. And we get a lot of threats and stuff behind the scenes, man. It's tough, but we cut for it.
At the end of the day, money is part of being on any social platform. If
Of
you
course.
gain a notable following, right? That just comes with the territory. But that's, neither here nor there in terms of what it is, because it is a business. It's a brand. We started this to raise the awareness, and
Just
we're
get started.
we're building, starting the process about thinking of, what angle with nonprofit foundation, but it's getting there. And the more and more exposure, the more people that we can get that's on board, we can really make a difference. And that's what it's really about. And so the people that know, like I always say, if you know, you know. Like if you've ever been alienated or if you ever walked this walk, we live it every day. We're not up here trying to sell you anything. Like we're literally trying to do the work, so that what we went through, you don't have to go through it.
Yeah.
And so, regardless of what's happening behind the scenes, like he said, we was built for it. So that just comes with, it comes with the territory.
Yeah,
But
you gonna love us. Some gonna love us, some gonna hate us. But
I want it all. I want the love and the hate. But I bet you this awareness is going to be raised, it's going to be made known. This is what it's about. If you standing for something that's really important,
but
you're going to be targeted.
We never really talked about this before because we haven't even put our story out there yet. So we're gonna do a story time coming soon. But we do this for two things. We do this to support the deads mainly because they the ones that get alienated the most, and to help them understand how to navigate the court system. Like my wife said, they won't have to go through the challenges that we went through. And then two, we do it for the people that never been affected by parental alienation, because in for it to change, the people that's never been affected by it got to understand it, and that's when the change is going to come. So, and that's the problem that we have in this world, in society, is people don't believe it. Oh man, please, she did that. That don't even make sense. They always try to make sense out of something, but parental
They think
alienation,
logical, but this isn't a normal
it's not
thing.
a logical. Yes, it's not logical at all.
And the thing about it is, it's so, it's textbook. Like if you just read the definition, oh, okay, yeah, well, but it's not that. When you live it, like you originally said when you first got on, this stuff you have to go through it and really be there and in those shoes to really be able to say, I know what you mean, I understand.
Sure.
Because other than that, you just speaking a language that people don't understand because they don't go through it. But the way that it's swept under the rug is what's, the most disheartening part for me. We're talking about children, right? Like, so this stuff is like literally a form of child abuse. And
Yes.
because it's not, it should be punishable, by like it should be a punishable crime, because the damage that these kids suffer, and it stays with them. This is a lifelong thing.
Yes.
And you wonder why you have all these crazy instances happening by adults. You never know what that story is or what trauma they have, what childhood trauma they have. Like, we see all this stuff on social media about healing and facing your childhood traumas, but parental alienation is at the core of these things. Yeah. Like, other things develop behind parental alienation, and that's what people don't get.
So when is we gonna start talking about that?
That.
Parental alienation. Like, we didn't have the people that come on this platform that's grown and was like, man, my mom alienated me. That's the first time I ever hear. Like, man, I called the Breakfast Club, and I want Charlamagne to reach out to us, man, because we gotta have a sit down. He I told him about parental alienation, and he never heard of it ever before.
He said on air, I never heard of it. And he looked it up on Psychology Today, and he read the definition on air, and he was really taken aback, and he was saying that he really had more questions. And so that just goes to show you, as somebody with a media presence as him that has been doing this for many years, like, to not have heard the term, to really know and associate it with what things you see, you just think it's baby mama, baby daddy drama, breakups, divorce, separation, all of these things, deadbeats, bitter baby mamas. No, parental alienation is like I said, it's the nucleus. It's what creates all of these things.
Yes.
Yes.
And with
Yes.
that being said, man, we don't want to take up too much of your time, but can you just tell people how to reach out to
Support,
you or
yeah.
support or sign up for any of your
Yes, sir.
programs?
So you guys can give me a look at our website at www.malloyfamilyconsultants.com. I'm also on Facebook, IG under Malloy underscore family underscore consultants. You can look me up as well as on TikTok as well with the same handle. So I'm readily available, willing to help out as much as I can, or to whoever wants to reach out and try to go through this journey together. And I will also tell people, do not go through this alone. Reach out to as many people as possible. Talk
Yeah.
about what's going on,
Yes.
right? And that is
Yes.
the biggest part about it. Don't do this alone because it's too daunting to do it by yourself.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible. Like we don't know anybody who's really just did it alone.
And I want to add to that. And make sure you talk to the right people
Yeah.
The
because
right people.
some I mean we made a mistake of going through our situation where we every time somebody seen us, this is our life.
We
We
worried.
living it.
We
So
worried.
we talking and we chatting, but people didn't understand it. We didn't really understand it at the time. So now when we come around, we don't.
Ah,
You don't want to talk to those people.
But you know what? In hindsight, not to cut you off, I'm sorry, baby. Let me just say this. I gotta say something. In hindsight, those same people who felt whatever they felt when we walked and came up and they said, oh, here they come again, talking about that, whether we had that dark cloud over us, we did the work and we
did the
won
work.
custody. And
We did
those
the work.
kids that we was crying about, we got them. And so this is why it hit different. Like don't be just talking about it. You got to be about it. Don't just be soaking. And it's okay to fall down. We all fall down, but you got to get up. Don't lay there. Don't think people are going to give you advice on something that they know absolutely nothing about. They're going to try to tell you to do all the wrong things because they
Mm-hmm.
know nothing about it.
Mm-hmm.
So again, seek God or whatever higher power that you are into. You got to understand that you got to tackle this thing. I'm so glad that you mentioned that your spiritual journey was a part of it. All of that is very important. That's first and foremost. I stand on that. You have to have some type of outlet because again, you said earlier, it can drive you insane. And I think a lot of people just don't know it because they're not prepared. So get prepared, do the research, educate yourself, reach out to us, reach out to Dr. Daniel. Like
Yeah.
the resources are coming, y'all.
Yeah.
Like we got them. We doing this for y'all. It's for y'all. Like you have no reason to suffer in silence anymore.
For sure.
And that's all I have to say.
We appreciate you, brother.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Come back
Thank you,
anytime. Give an
guys.
update. We'll be in
Absolutely.
touch.
For sure. We'll be
Absolutely.
sending some people your way
Thank
for
you.
sure.
Thank you so
All right.
much,
Have a
Dr.
good one.
Daniel.
Absolutely. And I'll do the same.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, one of
Man.
the best ones yet.
Yeah.
It's such a I lost my train of thought again. It's Friday, y'all.
Hey.
Such a fresh breath of air to have a professional on the platform that experienced it, had the tools,
And
can
still struggle.
still struggle. So just imagine a regular person that just that's the vast majority of our community.
Yeah. We don't even understand. We don't go to therapy. We don't even really understand it. So for him to understand it and went through all his schooling and for it to happen to still hit him like it
A
did,
psychologist. I mean,
y'all, you need to give some of these men and women that's going through parental alienation some grace. For real. But I need y'all to get us 10,000 subs, man. Y'all get us to 10,000 subs, man. Like and share. We're gonna drop our story time. It's time for y'all to hear who's the
real
deadbeat
raw,
story
uncut.
or why we do what we do. And this
All the receipts, all the stuff that everybody suspect behind the scenes. They think I was a pick me and oh, he's the bitter baby daddy and we want to attack women. And no, it's none of those things. Like
It's not about that.
we don't ask for this. It happened. And so I'm really ready to give y'all the real truth behind who's the deadbeat.
And go check out our bundle, our ebooks. Go subscribe. Go I can't even share, like, do all that. But we ain't got 1,000 sold like Doctor, but we only sold like 100. But we can get there with y'all support. Go ahead, man. Check it out, man. But make sure y'all follow us on all platforms and y'all do what y'all gotta do to get to y'all kids. And for those that not going through parental alienation, I just ask y'all to try to understand it, to try to get a little bit more understanding, educate yourself on it, because you guys is gonna be the one to make the change, not the people that's already going through it. Because trust me, she 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 didn't go through parental alienation. She just married somebody that went through it. So she didn't understand it either. She just went through the struggle with me. So this is why she have a understanding of it. And yes, she got affected by it because she caught a lot of those shots that was for me.
Still catching them.
It went to her. So
But I'm like Teflon Don, baby. So what's up?
So I'll just ask y'all, man, to educate yourself. Be a little bit more mindful. Stop just thinking like, oh, why would she do that? That don't make sense. No, y'all gotta understand what parental alienation is before y'all just make those blanket statements. So, all right, anything else?
I actually did experience parental alienation. I just didn't know what it was. So that's
Yeah.
I mean, I had children with a person that would say things about me to turn my kids about, against me.
Yeah, that's
a
true.
form of alienation. It doesn't have
That's
to
true.
be somebody taking your kids away. Any parent that targets another parent and attacks that parent using those kids,
That's fine.
that's parental alienation.
For sure.
That's it.
All right. Well, we
Thank
appreciate
God
y'all.
it's Friday.
We appreciate y'all, but man, go, share, do all that good stuff, man. We trying to get to 10,000 subs, man. We want to get this story out here. And that's it.
Okay.
We love y'all.
Peace.